Welcome back to DinamoTV. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome to DinamoTV the president himself, the head honcho, the man who oversees everything at Churchill Reserve, ILIJA Dragicevich. ILIJA, it's an absolute pleasure and welcome to DinamoTV.
Good evening, Tonchi, and good evening to all the viewers. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Now, mate, you are in front of the Chanchar Bar upstairs at Churchill Reserve. Has the cool change hit Churchill Reserve yet? Have the boys finished training? Are they all ready for Sunday's big game?
Well, yes, the cool change has dropped a little bit, not enough for our liking, but the boys have just finished training. I think they're getting changed, and one of the players will be joining us shortly after myself. But otherwise, it's we're looking forward to the big game this week against Dandy, our brothers from the other side of town.
Yeah,
looking forward to a great day.
We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. But, mate, tell us the ILIJA Dragicevich story, because you've got a long and illustrious history with the club, both as a player, a coach, administrator, I guess a supporter, you name it. But how did you first start? Well, how did you first fall in love with the round ball?
Well, my story is, I guess it's a twofold story, and it's no secret as a junior that I played and was part of the Melbourne Knights, Melbourne Croatia, and spent some amazing years at Melbourne, as known today, Melbourne Knights, and grew my passion for soccer, for the Croatian community via Melbourne Croatia and Melbourne Knights. Also, at that time, I was attending St Albans Dinamo games on a Saturday, because traditionally Melbourne Croatia played on a Sunday. I played my soccer on a Sunday. But Saturdays, my dad and myself would venture out to St Albans, Churchill Ave, Reserve, watch a lot of St Albans games, and then I became familiar with the people of St Albans. And as I grew and played my soccer, I had a lot of affiliation with people here, my age group, and made a lot of friends that way. And then continued playing, and up until senior level. In the year 1999, I became a St Albans player, and that was, I don't know, nothing that really I thought was going to happen, but it just did, because the soccer journey is such that one day a door closes, and then the next day the door opens. So the door at St Albans opened, and I was very familiar with the club. I came over, and I guess it all started from there. I became a senior player. For about 7 years, I was a senior player, and whilst I was a senior player, I captained the team. I played, somewhere near 100 odd games for the seniors. Had a lot of ups and a lot of downs as well, as senior soccer does. Experienced some different coaches. Really, some were really great, inspiring coaches at the time.
Who are some of the ones that stood in your mind that made a real impact on you, not just as a player, but as a person, as a man?
Well, look, the first coach that I had at St Albans was Sveto Rasticic. And Sveto Rasticic, coming from Melbourne Knights or Melbourne Croatia, he was a coach of mine in the youth team. So he was a big influence of me coming here. And then whilst I was here, I had the privilege of playing under Mickey Peterson, and we all know who Mickey Peterson is in the soccer world, and that he was an exceptional coach, and a coach that I probably one of the best that I had. And then from there we had different coaches. Nothing really long term. It was one of those periods of St Albans that coaches didn't last too long, and the team was up and the team was down. We did have consistency in the players. So we formed really good friendships within the senior structure. And Mario Wundel, who is, for me, probably one of the better captains of this club. I had the privilege of playing with Mickey Cellina, who was a great leader at this club, and a very well-respected person at this club. Josip Čuže, a long servant player, And there are so many more. I mean, the adopted Croatian, which is Konstanidis, he was a loyal player here at this club. And there's many, many more that we experienced, many friendships that we created over the years. And that's sort of how St Albans became my club and a part of my journey. And then it wasn't until probably 2012, I think it was, when Mick Cicciolina asked me to be an assistant coach. He was a senior coach. So I ventured out into coaching, senior coaching, and that was a really, really great year as an experience. But what it did, it actually convinced me that that wasn't something that I wanted to do in the future.
Righto.
I didn't want to be a coach in the future.
Yeah. What were some of the things that kind of really put you off coaching? Was it like more personal, or was it just things you weren't able to control on the field, or what was it?
I think at the time, adjusting to players' needs was something that I really wasn't. I thought players sort of were becoming very, very selfish and only thinking about themselves, and that was something that I was not going to be able to handle on a weekly basis. So I just said, no, that's not for me. And sort of then, my son came along. He was looking for a club, and Dinamo had a Mali Plavi program, right? So he was 4 years old when he started the Mali Plavi program. And the Mali Plavi program is still going. It's still very strong, still a big thing at our club that we value enormously. And he became part of that. And as soccer and his passion started to grow, I started to coach a little bit, with the juniors. And from there, obviously, as you're at the club and the club needs support, got into the junior committee. From the junior committee, I'm in the senior committee and president for my third year running now.
Did you ever kind of in your wildest dreams think like, when your son did get into the Mali Plavi and you started getting involved in junior committee, that you'd actually be running the club as a president? I mean, it's such a stressful gig, a stressful job. Were you pushed by someone there in the one of your colleagues there, or was it just something that you saw an opportunity that you could do something and change something at the club?
I think it was that, Taunchy. We felt that the club probably needed a little bit of a change, a bit of a direction. And we were, passionate about our kids playing soccer and teaching them, to play some good soccer. And with the background and being involved in soccer and stuff, so we just thought, let's give it a crack. Let's try and make a difference. And we slowly started to do that. And then we got some great people involved in the early days. With Stepan Gal, Ivan Mioch, Mickey Pete, myself, Augie. These were guys that we stood in this position as a junior committee and just said, let's make a difference for our kids. Let's give them the opportunities. Let's really increase their participation in playing this game and build the passion within a club and these kids to hopefully, they'll grow into this club and still be passionate when they're, 20, 30 and 40, just like we are.
Yeah. Now, if you've got any questions for ILIJA Dragicevic, the president of Dinamo St Albans, please, in the chat section, pop your question down. We might even get to those a little bit later on. But ILIJA, if we could ask you, now you've been president of the club now for 3 years, and we've seen some great innovation. We've seen lots of facility improvements. One of the innovations is this, the DinamoTV. Not too many clubs around the NPL competition have their own weekly podcast. So congratulations to you and to the committee for that foresight. But what are some of the short, medium and long-term goals that you and your team have put together? And what are some of those goals that have already been met?
Well, look, Taunchy, I think it's fair to say right now, probably the opportunity is right to say that we as a club and as a committee and leaders of this club are not influenced by what people are doing externally outside of this club. We actually, our goal and our ambition comes from our passion to be a better Dinamo. So everything that we do, we just ask ourselves, how is this going to be better for the club? How are we going to make this club better? And what can we do to be progressive? One, I think that's really important, to follow, you know, what our families and what our parents and what our kids need. So that's a big goal of ours. So we're not influenced by what other people are doing. We're just influenced by ourselves and trying to make us better, trying to make us a better club, make Dinamo better. So they're our internal system that we use to become better. Now we do have short-term goals. We do have long-term ones. Our short-term goal, from a soccer perspective, I'd say starting in the senior level, would be to play finals. Definitely, that's definitely a goal for everyone at the club. We'd love to see, you know, end of the season playing a finals game. I think this club would like really come to life if we played a finals game. Now, how far we are from that, we don't know yet. Okay, but we are doing the best that we can to get there. Another part is our girls program. We're really passionate about growing that in the club. We are restricted in some manner because we don't have the right facilities to grow that at the moment, but that's part of our 5-year plus goal, is to build the infrastructure at the club and then perhaps be able to provide the necessary facilities for women to grow at this club and become a big part of this club. So that's a short and a long-term goal for us.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. This is absolutely awesome. We've got a few people in the chat already making some comments. A certain Adam Tenanini says, "I need new agility poles and a ball pump. Thanks, Ilya. You're the best." Ivica Petrolic, heavily involved the Gorspic Bears. He says, comments about last Sunday's game, Dinamo played with heart. Let's talk very quickly about Sunday's game. Coming up against the reigning champions, I mean, we all know Avondale are in a league of their own. They've got unbelievable resources on and off the pitch. But, mate, that goal by Josh Diven, like after, 19 minutes. And that first half, the pressure that we were putting on Avondale, and yes, they came out, but they were made, as Josh Parrish, I think, said in the commentary, they were really made to work. That must have been really, really providing a lot of hope, as you say, to that one of those short-term goals of eventually playing in the finals.
Well, look, you start pre-season for us pre-season started about 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's us as a committee, as a club, coaching. We sit down, we review the year before, and we say, how are we going to get better and what are we going to do to get better? And then when the boys put on a performance like that, you think, well, we are heading in the right direction. And we all took a lot of hope last week, going into the rest of the year. And look, our challenge is to actually do that every week. Yeah. I think that's our biggest challenge with our playing group and our coaches, to actually get the boys to that level every week. And if we can do that and manage to get them there, then it's going to be a real positive year for us. I
loved James Ricobene's comment there to Berkey straight afterwards. He goes, it's nice to play in front of fans and have fans for a change. So I'm sure even the Avondale players appreciated it.